Alright, let's sleep. Pull the blankets up to your chin. Fluff your pillow. Turn off your phone and let the darkness settle around you like a soft, warm cloak. Tonight, we're going to travel back in time to a world that straddled the boundaries of continents, faiths, and civilizations, a world of sultans and janissaries, of viziers and poets, of conquest and culture, of a city that was the envy of the world and a throne that was the center of the universe. We're going to tell the story of the Ottoman Empire, the gate between worlds. But before we get to the cannons and the conquests, the harem and the horse tales, we need to understand where it all began, with a dream, a small principality, and a young man who would become the founder of a dynasty that would last for 6 centuries. Part 1, The Dream of Osman. The year is 1299. The place is Sagat, a small town in the hills of western Anatolia, in what is now modern-day Turkey. The region is in turmoil, the once mighty Seljuk Sultanate has collapsed, and the Byzantine Empire is weak and divided. Dozens of small Turkic principalities have sprung up, each vying for power and territory. Among them is a small tribe led by Osman Bey, a man in his late 30s who is ambitious, charismatic, and deeply pious. He believes that he is destined for greatness. He also believes that he has been given a sign. Osman tells his followers that he had a dream, a vision sent by God. In the dream, a moon rose from the chest of his teacher, the holy man Shikid Bali, and settled on Osman's own chest. From his navel, a great tree grew, its branches spreading over the world. From the leaves of the tree, rivers flowed, and from the rivers, people drank. Osman knew that the dream meant that his descendants would rule a vast empire, a kingdom that would encompass the world. Osman Bey is now the founder of a new dynasty. He declares himself the leader of the Ottoman Turks, and he begins a campaign of conquest. He captures the Byzantine cities of Bursa and Nicaea, and he establishes a new capital at Bursa, in northwestern Anatolia. Osman dies in 1326, but his dream lives on. His descendants will build an empire that will last for 600 years. Part 2, The Empire Expands, Orhan and Murad. The early Ottoman sultans were men of remarkable energy and ambition. They were warriors, administrators, and statesmen. They built a small principality into a powerful empire, and they did it through a combination of military prowess, political cunning, and religious zeal. Osman's son, Orhan, continues his father's work. He captures the important city of Iznik, Nicaea, and Izmit, Nicomedia. He also establishes a system of government, appointing governors and judges to administer the newly conquered territories. He creates a military force of infantrymen, the predecessors of the famous janissaries. Orhan is succeeded by his son, Murad I, who is the first Ottoman sultan to use the title, Sultan of the Ottomans. He expands the empire into the Balkans, capturing Adrianople, Edirne, and making it his new capital. He also establishes the Janissary Corps, an elite infantry force composed of Christian boys who are taken from their families, converted to Islam, and trained to be the Sultan's personal bodyguard. Murad I dies in 1389, at the Battle of Kosovo, fighting against a coalition of Serbian and Bosnian forces. His son, Bayezid I, the Thunderbolt, avenges his father's death and continues the expansion. He pushes deep into the Balkans, threatening the very heart of Europe. But Bayezid's ambition is his undoing. He is captured and imprisoned by the Mongol conqueror Tamerlane in 1402. Bayezid dies in captivity, and the empire is plunged into a civil war. Part 3, The Resurgence, Mehmed I and Murad II. The civil war, known as the Ottoman Interregnum, lasts for nearly a decade. The sons of Bayezid fight among themselves for control of the empire. Eventually, Mehmed I emerges victorious, and he restores order. Mehmed I is a capable ruler, but he has a short reign. He is succeeded by his son, Murad II, who is a brilliant military commander. Murad II defeats the Byzantine Empire and other enemies, and he expands the empire's territory in Europe and Asia. Murad II retakes Thessalonica from the Venetians in 1430. He defeats the Hungarians and the Serbs, and he forces the Byzantines to pay tribute. He also establishes a policy of religious tolerance, allowing Christians and Jews to practice their faiths in peace. Murad II's son, Mehmed II, will prove to be one of the greatest rulers in Ottoman history. Part 4, The Conqueror, Mehmed II and the Fall of Constantinople. Mehmed II, known as the Conqueror, is one of the most remarkable figures in world history. He is a brilliant general, a statesman, and a patron of the arts. He is also a ruthless, determined, and ambitious man. Mehmed's great ambition is to capture Constantinople, the ancient capital of the Byzantine Empire. Constantinople is the most heavily fortified city in the world, surrounded by the legendary Theodosian walls. For centuries, it has withstood every attack. Mehmed begins his siege of Constantinople on April 6, 1453. He has an army of perhaps 80,000 men, a fleet of ships, and a new weapon, the massive cannon built by the Hungarian engineer Urban. The cannon can fire a 500-kilogram stone ball, and it is designed to breach the walls. The siege lasts for 53 days. The Ottomans bombard the walls with their cannons, and the Byzantines repair them as best they can. The Ottomans also try to fill the moat, to undermine the walls, and to attack the city from the sea. On May 29, 1453, the Ottomans launch a final assault. They breach the walls, and they pour into the city. The Byzantine Emperor, Constantine XI, dies in the fighting, and the city falls. Mehmed II enters the city and is awestruck by its beauty. He is determined to make Constantinople his own, to make it a center of his empire. He converts the Hagia Sophia, the great Christian cathedral, into a mosque. He rebuilds the city, bringing in settlers from all over his empire. Constantinople is now Istanbul, the capital of a powerful empire. Part 5, The Golden Age, Selim I and Suleiman the Magnificent. Under Selim I, the Grim, the empire expands rapidly. Selim defeats the Safavid Empire of Persia, and he conquers the Mamluk Sultanate of Egypt and Syria. He also captures the holy cities of Mecca and Medina, giving the Ottomans control over the Muslim world. In 1517, Selim declares himself the Caliph, the leader of all Muslims. Selim I is succeeded by his son, Suleiman I, known in the West as the Magnificent and in the East as the Lawgiver. Suleiman's reign, from 1520 to 1566, is considered the golden age of the Ottoman Empire. He expands the empire to its greatest extent, conquering Belgrade, Rhodes, and much of Hungary. He also lays siege to Vienna in 1529, but he is forced to retreat. Suleiman is a brilliant administrator. He reforms the legal system, writing a code of laws that governs the empire. He establishes a system of education, building schools and universities. He also builds mosques, bridges, and aqueducts throughout the empire. The Sultan's reign is also a time of cultural flourishing. Literature, poetry, music, and art all flourished. The empire's craftsmen produced beautiful ceramics, textiles, and metalwork. Many of the most famous examples of Ottoman art, architecture, and other artistic works were created during the rule of Suleiman. Part 6, The Empire at its height. At its height, the Ottoman Empire is one of the most powerful empires in the world. It controls the Balkans, Greece, Anatolia, the Levant, Egypt, North Africa, and much of the Middle East. It is a vast, diverse, and prosperous empire. The empire is a center of trade. Its merchants travel to Europe, Asia, and Africa, buying and selling goods. The empire is also a center of learning. Its scholars, artists, and scientists produce works of great beauty and sophistication. The empire is also a center of tolerance. The Ottomans allow Christians and Jews to practice their faiths, as long as they pay a special tax. They also protect religious minorities, and they often appoint members of minorities to high positions. The Sultan is the absolute ruler of the empire, but he is assisted by a Grand Vizier and a council of ministers. The Sultan's harem, a collection of his wives, concubines, and children, is also a center of power. The Sultan's mother often wielded a great deal of influence. Part 7, The Decline. The decline of the Ottoman Empire is a slow, gradual process. It begins in the late 16th century and continues for more than 300 years. The causes of the decline are many: internal corruption, military weakness, economic stagnation, and the rise of European powers. The Janissaries, once the Sultan's elite fighting force, become a powerful political faction that resists reform and blocks progress. The empire's military technology becomes outdated, and its armies are outmatched by the armies of Europe. The empire also suffers from a series of disastrous wars. It is defeated in the Great Turkish War, 1683 to 1699, losing territory to the Habsburgs and the Holy League. It is also defeated by Russia and the British, losing territory in the 19th century. The empire tries to reform. The Tanzimat reforms of the 19th century are an attempt to modernize the empire, but they are too little, too late. The empire continues to lose territory, and it continues to decline. Part 8, The End. The final blow comes with the First World War. The empire joins the war on the side of the Central Powers. It is defeated, and it is dismembered by the victorious powers. The Ottoman Empire is officially dissolved in 1922. The last Sultan, Mehmed VI, is deposed, and the Sultanate is abolished. The Caliphate is also abolished, ending centuries of Ottoman rule. Mustafa Kemal, a Turkish general, founds the Republic of Turkey. He reforms the nation and establishes a new, modern state. Istanbul, the great capital, becomes the heart of a new nation. Part 9, The Legacy. The legacy of the Ottoman Empire is vast and complex. It is a legacy of conquest and expansion, of cultural achievement and tolerance. The empire introduced new agricultural techniques and crops to its regions. It built roads, bridges, and aqueducts, and it developed a system of administration that would be admired for centuries. But the empire also left a legacy of exploitation and oppression. It conquered and enslaved people, and it imposed its rule on diverse peoples. Its rule could be harsh, brutal, and intolerant. And the empire's legacy is still visible today. Its architecture, its art, its literature, and its music are still admired. Its legal system, its administrative system, and its political traditions have influenced the modern world. And its memories, the memories of the empire, of the Sultan, of the cities, of the people, continue to shape the lives of millions of people in the region and throughout the world. Part 10, The Lessons. What can we learn from the story of the Ottoman Empire? First, dreams can build empires. Osman Bey dreamed of a great empire, and he and his descendants made that dream a reality. Dreams can be powerful motivators, and they can inspire people to achieve great things. Second, tolerance can be a strength. The Ottoman Empire was a multi-ethnic, multi-religious society, and it tolerated religious and cultural diversity. This allowed it to draw on a wide range of talents and perspectives, and it contributed to the empire's success. Third, change is inevitable. The Ottoman Empire declined and fell because it failed to adapt to changing circumstances. It failed to modernize its military, its economy, and its society. If we want to survive and thrive, we must be willing to change. Fourth, nothing lasts forever. The Ottoman Empire lasted for over 600 years, but it eventually fell. No institution, no empire, no civilization is eternal. We should remember that, and we should not take our own society for granted. And finally, history is a story of human beings. The Ottoman Empire was not just a collection of institutions, laws, and buildings, it was a collection of human beings, people who lived, loved, fought, and died. Their stories are our stories, and we should remember them. Part 11, The Dream. Now, as you drift off to sleep, think about the Ottoman Empire. Imagine Osman Bey, dreaming of a great tree spreading its branches across the world. Imagine Mehmed the Conqueror, standing before the walls of Constantinople, determined to take the city. Imagine Suleiman the Magnificent, ruling a vast empire, a golden age of culture and power. Imagine the city of Istanbul, the Grand Bazaar, the Blue Mosque, the Hagia Sophia. Imagine the Sultan, sitting on his throne, receiving ambassadors from all over the world. Imagine the Janissaries, marching in their distinctive uniforms, the symbol of the Sultan's power. And imagine the decline, the wars, the losses, the humiliations. Imagine the last Sultan, Mehmed VI, leaving his palace, leaving his empire, leaving his people. The Ottoman Empire is gone, but it is not forgotten. It lives on in the stories we tell, in the history we study, in the culture we celebrate. It is a reminder that even the greatest empires can fall, and that we are all part of the story they began. So tonight, as you lie in your warm bed, in your safe home, surrounded by the people you love, think about the Ottoman Empire. Think about its rise, its glory, its decline, its fall. And remember that we are all part of the story of human civilization. Sleep well. Sleep deeply. And may your dreams be filled with the sound of minarets, the sight of domes, and the hope of a world that is always being born anew. Good night.